What's up, guys? Today I am back with you with another episode of We Shoot Sports, a podcast all about sports photography. I am thrilled to be joined by the NFL photo team. Let's get into it. Ben, do you know how many we're expecting?
I think we're waiting on Todd Rosenberg, and Alika Jenner is a maybe. He has an 11:30 flight, so he's at the airport now. So he was going to try and jump on. I told him to jump on for at least some of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll wait a couple minutes then for them.
Yeah. Do we have a lot of questions?
There are quite a few. We had quite a few of the same questions. But yeah, there are quite a few questions.
I like the hat, Ryan.
Thanks. Rick, did you get a haircut?
Yeah, I got in Kansas City a couple times, like a month ago. Finally.
I just got one this week.
Oh, nice. Where did you go?
Oh, my barber.
Haircuts are for losers.
His kids did it.
I got a guy down the street, Rick.
Oh, okay. I got to go to Kansas City to have my haircut done.
Yeah.
Haircuts are for chumps. Everybody should just go.
Oh.
Cooper.
Whoa.
Weird Al just photobombed a video bomb.
I don't think Cooper was invited to this.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Cooper. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry. Corey, I forgot about Doster too.
Oh.
Last night.
Sorry, Dostin. Hashtag
Yeah.
sorry, Dostin.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait a couple more minutes, see if we can.
What a motley crew.
This is exciting. This is the first time I've had more than one guest at a time on here, so this could get pretty lively.
Especially with this.
If you get caught on here, it'll really be lively.
Jenna, how did you like the workshop last night?
Oh, so good. Brad's awesome. I know Jennifer pretty well from when I did like more fine artwork. And so, yeah, I just, from what I know about the two of them and know about her and him. So, yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. So much to get out of it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I think there's a lot more, I think there's a lot of stuff that, any photographer, regardless, if you're trying to get into it or not, it's just helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course, Todd can't figure out the link.
I guess that'll happen when you're old.
Yeah. The Grizzly.
You can't figure out how to click.
Oh, here we go.
I hate when that happens.
There he is.
There he is.
Boom.
In the home office.
Whoa. Speaking of haircuts.
Todd, I like the decor in your office.
Wow.
He hasn't
you.
figured out the volume. Oh, there he goes. All right. I think we have everyone. Alika might jump on, but he's at the airport, so we'll see.
All right, I'll pay attention down here to see. It won't add him automatically, but it'll give me like a little ding if he pops in, and I'll pop him in.
Okay.
All right. So I won't do like an intro or anything like that. I'll do that when I edit it, so you guys don't have to worry about some awkward intro that you have to listen to. But so I think what we'll start out with is kind of how you got started in photography, and we'll just do like one or two sentences for each of you. Just introduce yourself, your name, how you kind of got started into photography. Let's see what else. Maybe where you're based. Let's go with where you're based. All right, whoever wants to. Ryan, you are closest to me if you want to.
Yeah, Ryan Foster.
Hop on first.
I feel like we have a very Brady Bunch thing going on.
I know, we're missing two
So
squares here.
we're doing name, city, and how we got into it.
Yep, just a couple
Okay.
sentences. So, some people will take 30 minutes on those sometimes. Don't do that.
My name is Ryan. I live in Los Angeles, and I started with the high school yearbook that led into the college newspaper, and then just freelanced from there.
Awesome. All right, Doster.
Hi, I'm Aaron Doster. Got into photography in 2009, based in Cincinnati, Ohio. I got into photography because I wanted my own baseball cards, and I said, "Hey, I could do that. Why not? Let's go."
Awesome.
I thought that was going to be a 30-minute story.
We're gonna pretend that I said your name right, and that the only reason I said Doster is because I have a Southern accent. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I've been called worse.
All right, Cooper, you're up.
I'm Cooper Neal. I'm based in Dallas. I tried out to be a yearbook photographer in high school and didn't make it. So I guess that's kind of how I got into photography.
Yeah.
Nice. And Ben.
My name is Ben Liebenberg. I'm based in Los Angeles, California. I got into photography at a real young age, taking photos on family vacations, and just stuck with it.
Awesome.
Nice. I'm Rick Tapia, based in Los Angeles. I got started in photography in high school and was on the yearbook team as well, and then went to Brooks Institute of Photography.
Nice. Todd.
I'm Todd Rosenberg. I'm based in
Hi,
Chicago.
Todd.
Hi, Doster. I started at age, I got my first camera at age 13. My father was an amateur photographer, but basically I started shooting at age 13 and started shooting for high school and junior high, and then working professionally when I was in high school.
And you're in Chicago?
Correct.
I didn't know that. Are you Cubs or White Sox?
If I have to say I like baseball, I choose Cubs.
All right, that's good to hear, because I was about to have to kick you off of here. Just kidding. All right, I didn't realize there were so many West Coast people.
Yep, me, Rick, and Ryan all fighting for the same games.
Usually the boss takes them.
Yeah. So I think we'll just, because there's so many questions, I think we'll just jump right into questions.
Let's do it.
And you all don't have to answer every single question, just kind of whatever you feel. Like if there's one of you that has like something that you really want to say, or feel free to jump in. So first question for you guys, and some of them ask like, oh, can we be anonymous? So I'm just going to say the question and not tell you who sent it in. So,
Doster, how
anyway.
many questions do you send in?
All right, we'll start with his question. Let me see here. What is it? Who is the best tattooed photographer on the team, and why is it Aaron?
I'm going to say Rick.
Yeah, you haven't seen
Oh.
our tattoos, so you're just displaying, not necessarily.
Yeah. You haven't seen Rick's back.
Logan has his Jaguars tattoo. I feel like
that's
I can't
true.
compete with that.
That's
I
good.
bow out gracefully.
And he does like kiss it before he does like random stuff, too. I've seen that.
That's awesome.
Staring at
Alright.
Jenga.
All right, so first question is, what does a game day look like for you now versus last season?
Ooh.
For
I'll
Go ahead.
start.
yeah,
Game days are a lot different. I would say, we don't arrive as early. For me, shooting in stadiums with no fans, there's plenty of parking, so you don't have to worry about getting into the stadium.
Yeah.
It's very casual. It's very relaxed. It's very mellow. You have a lot of downtime during pregame. There's long gaps. When the teams are in the locker room and whatnot. So I would say it's significantly different in the fact that you're just not shooting as much. We're not shooting very much pregame. We don't have a lot of access to shoot, feature photos, tunnel photos, anything like that. So really, I would say the day really gets going once the game starts.
well, I would say as far as the tunnel stuff, you guys people have been stepping up and getting things. The tunnel access is different. We're able to lean over and get things from the tunnel where we were not able to do that before, and get a little bit closer because a lot of times there's not as much restriction because they're not holding people off. So it's like you have a camera like 10 feet away from whoever's leading them out of the tunnel. And then I know Ryan and others have gotten some, moody photos of players. I think there was one posted this week of Tua coming out just dark and kind of a little more ominous. I think that the biggest thing for me is my knees are in a lot better shape. So it's after 34 years of kneeling, it's kind of nice not to have to. And every now and then there's a stadium where you can sit and shoot. So it's a little different experience for sure in that respect. But yeah, 2 hours is more than enough time before the game. But I still like getting there early because it's just getting in a mental state and kind of just having tranquility from the day and focusing on the game and stuff. But inside the press areas, you get out of those quickly because you don't want to be inside amongst, everyone else. You want to be outside and kind of isolated.
Yeah. Are you guys able to set up remote cameras at this point, or?
I haven't tried that.
Mm-hmm.
We tried that here in Cincinnati in the first game. Another shooter tried, and it was a good idea at the time, but it just panned out that it wasn't worth it. Too many variables, especially because you can only set it in so many places, and what are the chances that something's going to happen right in that zone? He had a nice touchdown photo, but the sound parabolic mic guy went straight across, and it just killed the only photo he had out of it. So remote cameras, I mean, it's always a good idea, but it's icing on the cake, and sometimes the cake doesn't need it. So
yeah. And so for all of you at this point, are no access to the field at all, or is it okay?
But it has been nice. Like I noticed, I've been carrying less gear to games. So the load going from game to game has been lighter. I'm shooting with one camera less, one lens less, a few lenses on the belt less. So the weight on the body has been a little nicer, just shooting with the long lens and like 7200 with the converter on it. So just having those two cameras has been kind of
yeah.
It's been nice not having to lug like 3 cameras and 6 lenses the whole time. But
I agree.
I
agree with that.
Like not being able to be super creative, having the field access when you're trying and stuff like that. It's just kind of depressing not being able to do that artsy kind of work, but we take what we can get right now. Yes.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of my photos look alike. It's very similar. I'm not creating anything unique where I was before, especially feature-wise. I feel like in order to get the cleanest shot, I'm staying in the same areas in the end zone, or I'm limited to whatever stadium I'm at, what angles I'm getting. So you're trying to figure out where's the best place to shoot from, and a lot of times that's not that many different places with throughout the stadium, and you physically can't move as fast as you normally could on the field. Like we're used to running up and down the field constantly to get in the best place for each play, individual play. Now we're kind of sitting back and letting the plays happen to us, which can be good and bad. I've made some good photos that way, but then percentages are just going down, and the same type of photos I'm creating week in and week out isn't as creative as I would like as I have in past seasons.
And like shooting from the side, like shooting from the stands, shooting on the sideline going down, we sometimes have to deal with like things you wouldn't have to do before, like ball boys, where sometimes they're getting your shot, but it's not like their head's poking out on top of somebody's leg or something.
First down marker.
Going first down markers. So there's a lot more obstacles than just not being on the field.
Parabolic mic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Standing in the out of bounds, going.
Standing television guys too.
Yep.
You're supposed to be kneeling.
Everyone. Yeah.
My favorite security now that they get as close to the out of bounds stripe as they can, and it's like nobody's rushing hit the field. Come back.
Especially when there's no fans, and they still have the same amount of security.
Well, the good
you
news
would
is
think
that
it would be the opposite. That's so interesting that you guys
Everyone's-
wouldn't have that as much.
everyone's got a name badge, and you just I focus in on the name on there, and I can just yell out, "Hey, Aaron, can you move a little bit?" And it's like telling NFL Films has an assistant that runs their cards, and just getting that person to be off the cameraman is is one of those things. Is it's like the cameraman will generally kneel, but the assistant will stand, and I'm like, dude, you can't stand there, and because you can't see over them, so you're just asking them to move back. But you can zoom in on their name and call them, and there's only like 40 people on the field, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah. All right, let's see here.
What's in the trash?
What was
Trash
that?
coming, Ben?
What was that?
The trash can coming for you, Ben?
Sorry, I'm downtown.
Mute.
Garbage truck?
Yeah, it actually was a garbage truck.
Got that ambience going on. Let's see. Somebody asked to date who has taken the most COVID tests. So it's kind of a funny question to throw out there.
One a week on my other work.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I'm down to every other week, so that's good.
We are not getting tested regularly because we are not in a controlled environment. You know, we're not around the players, so nobody's.
Oh, that's true.
Really.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good because they suck.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
And I do know that some of us are getting tested on our own.
Yeah,
for our own safety.
I've been tested 15 times now.
Wow.
Just because I do a lot of news and politics coverage on top of sports. So I've been pretty diligent on getting it done myself.
Oof.
I will say we do get every stadium does do temperature checks and the standard questions to get access.
Someone asked, does each photographer have a region they cover, or are you covering the entire United States?
It's
Yes.
sort of, yeah.
Yes.
like for me and Ryan, we're kind of covering LA, Arizona, Las Vegas, San Francisco. Rick and Cooper are a bit more all around the country. Todd and Aaron are pretty localized to their areas.
Yeah, I'm not flying through this whole thing per the request of my boss wife, and so I'm basically I've obliged not to fly, and so we've been driving. So we drove to we drive to Minneapolis, and I'll drive to Green Bay and Indianapolis. I planned to drive to New Orleans, but I work with the Chicago Symphony, and we're filming every week, and I have to be tested on Monday so that I can be in the hall on Tuesday. So it's really hard for me to get anywhere. I could probably do Tennessee, which is a 7-hour drive, but it's a long week if I do that, because I've got to get tested at by 10 a.m. on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would say I'm traveling more so because of some of the limitations of other photographers, which I'm happy to take on that responsibility to get to games that some people just can't get to. Like I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Denver, Seattle, Pittsburgh, New York. I mean, you name it. I've been everywhere this season, so it's good for me. I feel like I'm in good health. I take all the precautions I can, and I don't have anybody close to me that has any underlying health conditions. And I feel that I'm still kind of young, so I'm able to take those risks, and for the team, and I'm happy to do so.
What are you saying about young?
Yeah, I think the furthest I'm going this year is Kansas for Chiefs. And luckily, though, there were a couple other games that I was on where those teams had kind of fallen off, and the storyline's not as good. So thankfully, Ben can change those things, and I can stay closer to home without having to fly or really travel that far and put myself at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So
how many people? So what do we have? Sorry, counting here. 6 of you here. How many make up the entire photo team?
There's Mikey Owens, Alika Jenner, Logan Bowles, and Perry Knotts that we're missing. So there's 10 of us.
10.
That's playoff, Perry?
Yeah.
Let's see. So someone asked, how do you work in collaboration with team photographers when you cover a game? Is there any collaboration there? Are you just handling 2 different things? I know sometimes you will have team photographers photographs that you use for NFL coverage. So how does that work exactly?
The team photographers usually have their kind of own shot list. They have their own responsibilities. Which is pretty separate than what we're doing. There are times where we may reach out, if there's something we need help with, to them, but they have so much responsibility on a game day. It's hard for them to, kind of send stuff to us as well.
Are there ever any games that are covered? Is it just like their coverage that you use, or is there an NFL photographer from your team at every single game?
We are covering just over 200 games this year. So not quite every game is covered by us, but most.
Wow.
I would say a lot of us too know the team photographers very well. As you've been in the business, you definitely become friends with everybody. And I've definitely had an opportunity to work with some of the team photographers on outside of NFL. And also sometimes they'll just ask you for a photo, be like, hey, like I missed this, or one of my guys missed this. Did you get this photo? You're like, yeah, here you go. So I think there's definitely teamwork, but at the same sense, we're doing our own things, and the teams have a wide list of assignments that they need to get for themselves. But if there's any supplement coverage that we can do for them, we're happy to share images and work together that way.
I'll just add too that all of our images are shared with the clubs in real time.
Oh, wow.
So they do have access to all of our stuff.
I think another thing too, as far as collaboration, is not just sharing images, etc., but is that working relationship is important. We have the black vest, meaning we have access to the field. And the before COVID. So you can approach a team photographer if you know them, or just introducing yourself when you're there. And this really does go for any photographer, not just our team. Just being polite and working well, because you're in someone else's home, and you want to have a good working relationship. Makes you a better person, makes your team stronger, and makes them want to work with you more. Example, last year was my first time to, I think it was last year, my first time in New England, and they were playing the Chiefs. And I asked Steve at the time, I said, hey, can I go in front of Mahomes to get, anthem shots? And he was like, oh, dude, thank you so much for asking. He's like, that's huge. Because, if you have field access, people are just going to do whatever they want. And he's like, the fact that you asked, he's like, thank you. And so those kind of collaborations, I think, go way further, building those relationships than, anything.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That kind of answers the question about, networking as well, and just being a good, not just photographer, but human, right? So.
Well, and that's the thing is, we all of us here, and those who are making a career out of this, especially, we're very blessed to do what we do, and very lucky to do what we do, especially during COVID, and such a global thing. But we're taking photos. We're not curing cancer. We're not rocket scientists. We're literally documenting history of sports, etc. So just being nice to each other and being good to other photographers, it's not that hard, and that's how we should handle it.
Except for Logan.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
He's not here to defend himself. Come on.
Duval.
That was planned.
But yeah, the point is, we're not curing cancer. We're just taking photos. We got to be good to each other, and we're all trying to do the same thing. So why step on each other?
Yeah, definitely. So this is an interesting question that someone sent in. They were talking about how we've seen the landscape of sports change, and the NFL, with women coaches and women referees, and then just diversity in the NFL in general. How do you guys see that kind of shifting in terms of photography and photographing the NFL? It's kind of a vague question, but it was one that was asked a couple times. So
I think there's a lot of female photographers up and coming. I've known a couple that have been around forever. Sue Grocki in Oklahoma, and and Ryan in Chicago, who are two of the preeminent photographers that have been shooting sports and journalism for a long time. And there are photographers all around that have been there. But yeah, there's no question the dominance is it's been a male dominance. But I mean, just now, recently, I mean, there's like Tori Richmond coming in and Carolyn in Pittsburgh. So it's just like people are starting to come in more and more. And it's one of those things that you just, you embrace. And I mean, everyone deserves the same opportunities, and everyone should be given a push and given help. I mean, I think the thing is that, as Aaron was saying, as far as being good to everyone, I do everything I can to help people that ask, and there's no limitations in that respect.
Absolutely. Another thing I'd like too is, like Todd said, helping everybody. It doesn't matter if you're man, woman, non-binary, anything. If you want to do this job and do it right, yeah, you got to be good to each other. And I will actually make sure that during a game, like in Cincinnati, we have a new USA Today photographer, Katie Stratman, who just started, and we've gone out of our way to make sure that she's accepted and that she's doing things right, and people are not harassing her. Because we had an issue, one of our first games, where someone was kind of bugging her, and we told that person, like, yo, like it's 2020, man, come on, it's time to grow up. Like, more women in the workplace are here, they're kicking your butt, don't be sad, move on. Like, just do your job, don't be a jerk. And advocating more and more. And I think it's going to take a lot of us, the older white guys now, to help out and make sure that they're treated fairly and equally.
Yeah, that's great. I thought I'd share. I think Ryan, you're on that workshop too, right, with Brad last night?
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah.
So Brad was sharing something last night on this workshop. It's through Summit that we're doing, and he was just talking about how different it is now that there's more female photographers and photo editors, and that goes for anything, not just females. Just diversity in general in sports photography, but how we're able to see things in a way, I think I'm saying this right, that we haven't before, by bringing in different people with different experiences and different backgrounds. So I think that's pretty cool to see, and I love it. I love seeing Tori and Melissa and Kara and everybody. It's an awesome thing to see. So
yeah, Megan.
Yeah, shout out to the two boss ladies in San Francisco.
Oh,
Kim
yeah.
and Meg, those two are absolutely some of my favorites.
See,
and Courtney Rivera, that's CD. She kills them too. They're all great. And
the editors in the editing department, I mean, I'd say the majority of my editors were female. I mean, I had Maureen Kavanaugh, I had Marguerite Schropp, and then we have Alex, Alex Kane in ours. I mean, it's like there's a lot of female editors for sure. And I found myself being called when I was working at Sports Illustrated regularly. So I would say that the diversity the diversity in shooting is one thing, but the diversity in editing was always there.
That's awesome. Let's see. So someone asked, do I need to go to college to be able to become an NFL photographer?
No.
I'll jump in first. I dropped out of college 3 times. And just remember, kids, stay in school. You don't want to look like this.
Well, definitely don't want to look like that, period. But I mean, that's just a burden you have to carry.
Hey,
but
if someone's going to do it, I'm glad I can do it.
Yeah, I did graduate from photo school, a traditional photo school. And you don't need it. I think anybody can have the drive and the passion, will find a way. I will say that I'm glad I did the path that I personally took. It helped me. I learned traditional photography like studio work, lighting, and things like that. So I'm very proud of my background. Do you need it? I do not think you need it. Nobody has ever asked me ever since well, my only first job is, where I kind of put my college, you put your resume. I was a photo editor for the NFL first, straight out of college. But other than that, everybody looks at your portfolio. They ask your references. Networking is very key. They want to know, who you are as a person. I think definitely networking is more important, being a good person. And the easiest thing is to have a strong portfolio. And you don't need to shoot professional sports to have a strong portfolio. That's probably the number one thing I see of like, oh, my photos aren't good because I don't shoot NFL or I don't shoot D1 college. I was like, that's the worst access you can ask for. Like, it's very difficult to get access at that level. Why not shoot a JV high school game that's at, 4 p.m. local time? You get that golden light. You get unlimited access to the bench area. I mean, that's where I would build my portfolio if I was looking to shoot sports, specifically football.
I was a poli-sci major in college so that I could learn to, I took accounting, I took English to speak better, and as I fumble for words, but the school was basically, the education was to be a better rounded person, and then I was just doing photography full time while I was in college. So, I think the thing is, it's important to be intelligent. It's important to be capable of handling yourself in a business situation. And everything nowadays is a contract. Everything we get has a contract attached to it. Will you sign an NDA? Will you sign, this buyout agreement? Will you give your rights up? And all those things that start coming at you. That doesn't require photographic education, but it requires an education of knowing that, everything nowadays is immediate. People send you things, or they call you on the phone and say, I need to know a quote. And I've always told everyone I've talked to, don't give a quote over the phone. Just say, hey, send me an email with everything that you need, and I'll get back to you with a proper quote. Because the minute that you are put on the spot to give an answer is the minute that you're going to either bid too low or bid too high and bid yourself out of it. So you kind of put things together, and that just involves being intelligent and being coherent. As far as college is concerned, that's, you're going to learn different things. I didn't study photography. I studied, when I was in Madison, they said, you need to declare a major. And I basically said, whatever major requires the least amount within the major is what my major is, because that allowed me to take the most of what I want. So I took philosophy, I took psychology, I took Socratic theory, all those things. And then I did photography for, wire service and for newspaper. But the photography was always, I chose Wisconsin because it was the biggest school. I'd have the access to the most sports because that's what I wanted to do. But the education was a broad, diverse, and well-rounded education.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I think Logan also didn't finish, right? Is that?
I think he got through junior high. I'm not sure.
I think when somebody sent that question in, they were specifically wondering about Logan, but I think you guys did such a great job of answering that. I
think he quit midway through, just like every Jags game. The team just
Oh,
sometimes
no.
the Jags don't even show up, though. So I don't know.
Oh, that was good.
Oh man.
Love you,
Goodness.
Logan.
I went to the school at the University of Utah, so I have a lot of feelings about Gardner Minshew and the Ducks for that matter, but
Go Ducks!
what are some of your responsibilities off the field?
Well, I'm a father.
No. So I think they're saying, like, if you're not covering the game, what other types of events are you covering? Don't you guys have to do some photo editing sometimes? Things like that?
I'm kind of in a unique position where I'm a photographer for Ben, but I also work on the editing desk at the NFL. So during the week, we're like curating all these guys' images and putting them in galleries and putting them on centerpieces, cutting them out and putting them on like feature stories and things like that. So it's a lot of archiving on our end, but that's usually done on game day.
Got ya. Do you guys have to cover any other events besides?
Yeah, for the guys that work in the office, we do have to shoot like our network shows. Back when we did go into the office, we all work remotely now, so we don't shoot any of the network shows or talent right now. And then during the off season, when athletes would come in to like do special guest appearances on the shows, we'd do like portrait sessions with them, which are always fun. But obviously that doesn't exist at this point. So I guess that extended the realm of external responsibilities outside of shooting games.
And do you guys cover the draft? Do you cover? Are there other events like that you have to cover? Is it the whole photo team or just whoever's like in that location, or how does that work?
It's whoever sends the most gifts to Ben gets him. So
pretty much.
Logan has been, Logan and Perry have been, it's like I've been doing the combine I've been shooting the combine more than Ben has, but there's a group that does the combine, the group that does the draft, a group that does Super Bowl and the honors, NFL honors that happen with that. So yeah, everything Pro Bowl, well, I think Pro Bowl's done, but I mean Pro Bowl and things like that too. So yeah, all the those are covered. During preseason, there's some camp stuff, like people will go, Logan goes and hangs out and gets autographs at the Jags. And, so that's kind of what happened.
Poor Logan.
No,
I would definitely say all of us are freelance, meaning, we're contracted through the NFL, but we definitely have responsibilities outside. It's definitely not our only job. I mean, I know Dosters, covers a lot of news and a lot of editorial stuff. Like even during this, you were doing baseball and soccer and things like that. And I too cover, I'll do hockey, I'll do baseball, I'll do portraits, I'll do athletes. So I think responsibilities, we have our own businesses that we're responsible to and doing our own thing.
Cooper did the
and
World
we do
Series,
second edits.
Chatty.
What?
Cooper, Mr. Chatty shot the World Series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. So, I mean, we have a lot of talented photographers that not only shoot NFL games, but, have successful photography businesses that are constantly shooting other events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the primary Associated Press photographer now in Cincinnati, and USA Today's primary for sports. So I constantly am juggling that schedule. Sports news, and then someone like FC Cincinnati will reach out to me like, hey, again in the before times, would reach out like, hey, we're doing a New Jersey unveil. Can you shoot these portraits? And so I would, do something like that if I wasn't already booked that day to do something. So
yeah,
Rick's right. We're all over.
I've been working for the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for 24 years. I work for the opera. I work for a dance company here. So
Which dance company?
Hubbard Street Dance, Chicago.
Yep. I used to be a professional contemporary ballet dancer before I did sports. So, I know.
That was a sport. Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so the next question you guys have is, how do you challenge yourself to be creative and not allow shooting week after week to become mundane?
It's definitely hard with the restrictions now.
It's very
this year
now.
I mean, you always look for good light. You always try and, I think the thing is that anybody that's trying to succeed in this business doesn't rest on what they have. They're trying to do something different and look for it. I mean, there are times when you find yourself kind of sitting back and getting what but I think the one thing that I learned a long time ago was that, it was the 37th frame when you were shooting film, is that make something for yourself every time. And the more you push yourself, the more expansive your abilities are. So you can always go for something safe that you've done before, but you can't have done something before if you don't try something new. So it's like you should always just build upon what you have to do different things and to make yourself, try different stuff. And with the way things are with the whole COVID, you have the operational zone, but now we can go up in the stands and shoot, at these long lens type, different scopes and not necessarily going on the field because you're getting obstructed by other things. So going higher and trying to get cleaner stuff. There's been some really cool stuff that's been popping out of this team. You look at the coverage. It's not the same as it was on field, but that's a good thing sometimes. I mean, there's just different looks and different angles and different energy that's coming from it. And you also, the biggest key is to tell the story, and the story is different every game. I mean, the vast emptiness of the stadium is something that needs to be told, and you try and show that. So it's a matter of just trying to get the different things. It's easy to be safe, it's easy to rest on what you've done, but it's more important to try different things.
Yeah, I remember a photo. It always sticks out in my mind. I think it's in Dallas, so maybe it's your photo, Cooper. But there was one I think with maybe Clay Matthews. Do you guys remember the one I'm talking about? It's like, I wish I had it that I could show it to you. But it's the light is coming in, and it's just one that creativity just took over. So, yeah, I wish I had it up and I could show it to you. But that's interesting because I don't know. I feel like game after game is enough to not feel mundane, but maybe it starts to feel that way when you guys get so used to it on your team.
Any job you've done for a long period of time can find its mundacity. I mean, you can easily, become complacent and do things. I mean, there are photographers that do the same thing every time, shoot the Indy 500 the same exact way, shoot a football game the same exact way. They'll sit in their corner, they'll do things. I mean, and part of that is routine. People have their routines and they have the way that they do things. And it's the people that are doing things differently that make it better in this. I mean, you look at the Sean Hubbards, you look at the Cooper Neals, you look at the Ryan Kangs, and Rick, all these guys, and Doster gets in trouble for sometimes doing things that are just completely like, what, just a shoelace, that's it? But you look at the take that he has and it's completely different than what we do. And it's style and it's energy. I think I'm probably the most traditional wire service type style of photographer. But that's the thing, is that's who I've always been, and that's the way I shoot. But I watch these guys every week, and I'm just like, dang, it's like it's very cool. The angles are really cool to see and to try different stuff. And the up angles that we're getting in the end zone there's some neat stuff because they're catching passes, and instead of being low on them where you have them where they're off the ground and they're catching them like right in front of your face. So it's a different look, and it's like, Don't fight what you're given, embrace it and work with it.
I think a part of that is also...
That might be it. I think that is it.
That was from like 3 years ago. Can't believe you remember that photo.
Still here. It's a good one.
I think a big part of it is just also recognizing who your client is. If you're working for a wire service, like I worked for the wire service for 10 years before I started doing stuff for the NFL, they have a specific set of needs that they have to get from every game to service to all of their subscribers. Us at the NFL, like that's not, there are obviously some things that we need to get every game, but a part of why we're asked to be out there is to come back with something unique from each game that we're covering. So I think we all kind of take that as a challenge to create something that nobody else is getting, to give our team and our organization something unique to showcase our view of the NFL through.
Yeah, it's not about quantity, it's more about quality. Times, I shot one before it was Getty. I worked for Allsport, and Allsport, when they were first starting out, we were one photographer against 4 or 5, and it wasn't about transmitting 30, 40 photos. It was about moving 3 or 4 photos, and they needed to be really, really strong and really unique and different. And it was the Allsport way, and it was just, and that's what Getty aspired into. But I think the thing is that Ben has brought in a team that has a diverse range of ability to create this, like, really, if you look at the take that's done throughout the team, it's a really interesting take, and it's a different, we all have different variety.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. I I need to go through and look at a full take. I don't think I've ever done that before. I just see what you guys post on Instagram.
Well, look at the
So-
grid. I mean, yeah, look at our grid and see what's posted. I mean, and look what, if you look at the photographers of what we post, I think all of us post something on our own social channels at the end of the, by Monday for sure. But you just look at it and I think people are coming up with, their views and he pulled in Mikey and Alika and they, it's funny because Alika said to me, he's like, I just don't know, I want to shoot like you guys. I want to do it. And it's like, just do what you were brought in to do. You were picked because of who you are and what you do. Produce that. And Alex and her team will direct you and say, hey, we need more of this or we need something of that. But otherwise, just you do you, and you'll provide what they need. And it's true. We're looking for you're looking for the game-winning kick or the game-winning touchdown, but it's not necessarily going to come your way every time. But just make sure you have coverage of things. And I think that's the thing. It's really hard. It's a really hard mental game for people that don't understand it. But to cover a football game as one person, it's not a given you're going to have everything. Except if you're Cooper or, but no, you're not going to have everything. And so it's a matter of just trying to tell the story as best you can and to read the game properly and to say, this is the house. So the tighter games are going to be tougher because they're going to go that way. When the Jaguars or the Lions are playing, you can pretty much focus on, their backsides because they're just going to get run over. So that's what it's about. But it's about just, telling the story from how you see it and being creative doing it.
Yeah. Real quick, let's go around for each of you. What's your favorite stadium that you get to shoot in?
Ryan.
Or that you have shot in, I guess. Maybe there's some that you haven't.
I already know mine. Mine's always been Dallas. I just remember the first time I went to AT&T Stadium and I just was like, this is a true stadium. This is like what a stadium should be. This is everything. And then
Indoors.
Has some great light. Indoors, yeah. I'm from, being from LA, I hate cold games. And I've had 2 cold games in the last month where it was 11 degrees and 33 degrees. And I was not happy that I got those games in October, but, live through it.
Please.
Who covered the crazy snowstorm Buffalo game a few years ago?
I don't think we had anyone there, actually.
Oh, wow.
I've done, even though I'm from Chicago, Lambeau is easily the best stadium ever built. And it's been that way. The only thing they've done is they've built it up and added boxes, but the bowl has remained the same, and everything from the sign they put out, like that you can't be on the field, is vintage, and it's pure football. And I'm sorry. Yes, I do love an indoor stadium, and Minnesota is great because it's glass and it's like an outdoor indoor, but there's nothing better than but Lambeau is easily the best stadium to shoot in. And I shot the NFC game, playoff game between the Giants and the Bears when it was -26, and that was without wind chill. So everyone's cameras, and then like the new Nikons had just come out and all their batteries were freezing.
Oh, wow.
And all the cameras were seizing up, and it was cold. I think it was the coldest game in NFL history. It even beat the Ice Bowl.
Jeez.
I like Minnesota. It's very nice as a stadium. Light is insanely good there. But Kansas City, as a stadium whole, on field it's gorgeous. The grass, the shape of the stadium, that vintage feel, like Todd said, it's beautiful. But indoor stadiums, Atlanta is wild. Minnesota, Detroit is highly underrated.
I don't know about that.
That Ford Field, it's so dark. It's kind of dark, but
kind of.
It's glorious. It's warm.
No.
It's
It's a
This is
shoebox.
Doster's little esoteric way of doing things. It's like, I just love the dim, overcast, dark, dingy.
no. Hold on, time out.
It's like Dahmer's basement. It's just horrible.
I base everything off of the field, stadium shape, and coffee in the city.
It's a crawl space.
It is a raw space.
So it's the coffee then.
It's the coffee for me.
I was-
Kansas City, Minnesota.
You need to get out more.
Yeah, exactly. He lives in Cincinnati. This is the answer you need to know.
Hey, look. We
Chili.
put
They've got
chili
chili.
on our spaghetti, and it's fantastic.
Still yet to try that. I need to try that.
It's phenomenal. Thank you.
God,
So yeah,
Detroit.
if they've got good food and coffee, if they got good
And
coffee,
a
I'm
crawl
all in.
space for a stadium.
I honestly don't know. I'm a sucker for a stadium that has a really good tunnel, or lasers, or so like the old Oakland Raiders stadium. It was the worst stadium in the world. Like, there was always like pipes bursting and people were throwing stuff on the field, and it was a pain to get to. But that like grungy looking tunnel that they had for the place to come out of was just so good.
Philly's the same way. That their tunnel entrance makes really nice frames, even though it's Philly.
Peak.
What
But
about you?
that stadium is nice.
Yeah, I'm just in pure stadiums. I like Arrowhead a lot pre-COVID. Now it's a
Yeah,
COVID,
not fun.
4 times.
but it just in terms of like pure experience, New Orleans is a fun place to see a game.
Yeah, how's their coffee?
Oh, their coffee is unreal. Oh my god.
I'm not a coffee guy,
Best
so I'll let
coffee.
Aaron take that.
You gotta
but-
get beignets though. You gotta be. It's all about the beignets.
yeah, I'll
I'll have
eat
a
it.
hurricane and a beignet, and I'm good. Yeah.
That coffee is the best in the country. I'm sorry. I've been a lot of
Seattle will
places,
serve you
but
Starbucks coffee though. The Seahawks serve Starbucks coffee in the stadium. I'm not a coffee
Gross.
drinker. I thought that's good.
no, Starbucks is not good.
No,
Sorry.
gross. Sorry.
I'm also sitting in a local shop, so
We're never
I
gonna get
support
sponsored
local.
by them anymore.
Yeah, sponsorship gone.
Oh.
This is kind of an interesting question. Someone asked, let's just say pre-COVID, because obviously COVID changes things, but if you only had one lens to cover an entire game with, what are you going with?
400.
400.
Well, now, yeah.
Whoa,
well, and maybe
wait,
always.
wait,
maybe.
wait.
1.2.
Doster's going with a 50 prime, but
No, the new 8514. Thank you.
Doster's on Polaroid.
Oh yes, the
Ooh.
Polaroid. Speaking of which,
no. Oh God.
I like it with a fixed lens that only shoots black and white that costs $7,000.
Like that.
Oh my gosh, I saw that. Sean was posting about that on Twitter.
is it
Yeah.
bad
Crazy.
that I want it? Is it bad that I want it?
For $7,000 that only shoots black and white with a fixed lens that you can't change, yes.
If it was free, I'd take it. I'm just gonna say
Polaroids all day. Give me Polaroids all day.
You took a photo of a latte?
It's a sign, okay?
Oh.
It's a sign right there.
It's a sign you just didn't grow up with Polaroid. Buck a shot.
They got rid of the land camera
Oh.
film, and I'm out. I don't do Polaroid anymore.
eBay's got it.
I mean, obviously, I think the go-to for covering football pre-COVID was a 400-2.8. Everybody would agree for that. But to get creative, I think our second lens, my second favorite lens, for like pre-game portraits and things like that we would do, I do like my 85 1.4.
The 85 prime is killer. So is the 35 prime.
Oh, 35. Yeah.
Sony's 135 prime is awesome, and the 35 prime is great.
Yeah.
Well, earlier Ryan made a point too. Carrying less gear. I started most of the season just with my 400, a 1.4 extender, and my 85. That was all I'm bringing. I packed my Peak Design bag with those 3 things, and I'm good. It's because if I can't make photos with those 2 lenses, what's the point? And because 1, we're restricted on access, and 2, it's so nice not to have to lug everything to the stadium right now. So
Yeah.
Ryan definitely had a good point with that.
I always have the wide for these games. I mean, I just do like try and get
Well,
wide
that's-
to the stadium.
That's because you got guys that do the Lambeau leap sit right next to you.
There was that.
Yeah, that's unfair.
Yeah, the stands in LA, you'd have to hop like 20 feet in the air, so there's no need for
Yeah.
wide angle there.
Yeah, Cincinnati, you gotta, straight down. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Someone said, how do you define a success when shooting a game? Like, how do you define whether or not the game was successful for you?
When Alex says thanks.
Yeah.
looks great.
When the client's happy.
Yeah, when Alex Kane says, "All right, you can go home now. You did a good job."
Exactly.
No,
I feel like I
it's-
gotta get her on one of these episodes.
Oh, you need Alex by herself. She could fill a whole episode. She gives
she
you the.
doesn't want.
She's
If
the
it's,
real boss.
she would not want to be on screen. She would prefer to have it. She likes
Yeah.
people behind the scenes, but I think that's the thing is that it's. I mean, I think anybody that strives to be the best they can will say, "I could have done better," but I mean, it's a matter of if the client is happy and we get feedback. I mean, the worst thing that ever happens is like, Todd, do you have any more of so and so? And it's like, so I mean, that's what you don't want to have happen is someone asking you for more. But it's just a matter of just making sure the client is happy, and we have really good editors who are really straightforward, and they'll ask us for things mid-game, and we'll start working. And that's the biggest thing is that with Slack and with what we have now is we have these transmitters that allow us to not be distracted for sending photos during the game, where we can just press a button and the image gets transferred. That has changed the game immensely. I used to have to chimp through it and try and find things and misplays or run into you'd have to run in to send stuff. And it's like, now you just, boop, and it's like, that just is just changed everything to make it so much better. We cover the game so much more. We're sending more content that the office is seeing. I mean, I think, I forget what it was, but Cooper and I did the kickoff game, and we moved like 20 gigs of content through JPEG. So we moved, I think, 500 to 700 photos to them from the opening game.
Nice. So 2 more questions for you guys. What advice do you have for a soon-to-be college grad wanting to professionally shoot sports, specifically for the NFL? I feel like that's everybody's question.
Yeah.
Like, I probably got this
They're
question like 10 times.
Graduating college or graduating or leaving a newspaper or freelancing, everyone has that same question: is what can I do to shoot for the NFL? And I think Rick said it earlier, is it's like, don't focus on the NFL as being the golden chalice. There are so many channels to get where you are, and to be noticed is to basically work as hard as you can. If you're only striving to shoot for the NFL, your access is going to be limited. You're going to be basically trying to do this, and you're not going to have the opportunities because the credentialing is so limited. So it's like, shoot as much as you can, try different things and do what you can. But I think the piece of advice that I got a long time ago from an art director was, you need to be a tick. You need to burrow your head into someone until they light a match to tell you to go away. So it's like, you need to kindly just constantly send send things in to Ben and say, hey, I'd love to do this. I mean, Ben was coming to the combine for 3 or 4 years, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to shoot for you if you ever do this. Hey, I'd love to do this if this ever happens. And that's just how it works, is you just need to be persistent and consistent and kind about it, because he's busy, he's not always going to respond, but you need to constantly, anywhere you want to work, whether it's the NFL or the local paper or the wire service or whatever, you need to just be persistent, and you need to be good. You need to constantly just be honing your craft and be creative about it, and have a good social presence, social media, be kind, have a good reputation.
Actually, you can't have shooting for the NFL be the goal. Like, I think that's the wrong mindset. I think you want to be a good photographer, and the NFL is just a product of you becoming a better photographer or a good photographer. You want to just advance your skill set, and then jobs will come. Like Todd said, Like, you still need to be like kind to people and reach out, but your work should speak for itself. And if the NFL lands on your lap, then that's the job path that you take.
Yeah, I always tell
Yeah, I
people
was given-
to shoot what you want to shoot. So if you want to shoot football, shoot football, but understand, I made contacts at high school games when I was in high school. So that's where I started shooting professionally for the local paper. I'm shooting events, and I'm shooting for myself, and then I make contacts. So I think it's definitely, networking's key. And if you don't have the portfolio, you're not going to get looked at. I mean, I really think there's a lot of people out there that have this idea of shooting for the NFL, and then you I'd love to look at your work, see what you have, and it's subpar, and it's hard to tell people that their dreams, you got to work on this, you need to shoot better. And that's what it comes down to a lot of times is, there's thousands of photographers out there gunning for our jobs and any other jobs that are available. So you have to have something special. And so networking and having that something special is where it's going to come down to.
I was taught from the jump was do something to separate yourself from everybody else.
Tattoos.
Find an angle that is, shut up.
Be nice to everyone. Exactly, Dustin.
Yeah, don't get face tattoos. Be nice to everybody. Do something to set yourself aside. Always, always hustle. Never take an off day if you're given the opportunity. And be kind. That's the biggest thing. Be kind and be humble, because there are so many people chomping at the bit to take our jobs. And you got to adapt and you got to grow. And that goes back to what Todd was talking about before about, pushing yourself, being creative. Don't get complacent. But the NFL, for me personally, was the top of the mountain. But I never sought out to be like, I'm going to shoot for the NFL. For me, it was wired service. I wanted to be the best USA Today photographer in the Midwest. Didn't happen, but I held it down. And now I wanted to challenge myself with news. And so now I'm the AP guy in Cincinnati, thankfully, after we had some guys get promoted and retire. So all these things led up to making contacts, networking, being kind, and then the NFL, it happened. And it was never, I never set out to be like, this is the goal. But I'm here, and it's, oh my goodness, it's great. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, but Rick is right too about the portfolio. Portfolios need to be strong no matter what you're shooting. You can shoot skateboard photos, you can shoot penguin photos, you can shoot,
Nothing wrong with that.
Actually, I'm gonna do that tomorrow at the zoo. But just being creative and pushing and creating and being nice. For the love of God, be nice, like Todd said.
Do you need to be nice? Do you need to be nice in this industry?
I've heard you should be nice, but like Todd said too.
So what's the holdup, Aaron?
The point is, if you want to get your foot in the door, be polite. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten DMs like, hey, how do I do this? Hey, get me in. And I'm like, hold on a second. Don't come at someone like that, because it doesn't matter if it's photography or being a chef or whatever. If you come at somebody with hostility and attitude of I'm gonna do this, chances are, I don't care who you are, you're gonna get left behind.
Definitely.
And that goes back to being kind. Because
I think it's important to recognize that everybody's path is going to be a little bit different.
yes.
I got my in with the NFL. Last year was my first full season. Ben was looking for somebody to do portraits around Texas, and he had seen some of my work that I had done with the NBA and called and asked me if I would do portraits for several of the team's media days. And that was how I kind of got my connection with the NFL, was through doing portraiture. After I did a handful of things through that, I emailed Ben a couple times and told him, these are other people that I work for. I do a lot more than just portraits. If you guys need somebody in this area, give me a call. And it took him a while, and then he called. So I didn't approach it as like I'm gonna email Ben every day and tell him I want to be an NFL photographer. It was he had a specific need he was looking to fill, and I happen to be a person that does sports portraiture in and around Texas. And so, I mean, like, yeah, being able to cover a game is great, but like that's not the end all be all for getting a job as a sports photographer. So, I mean, making sure that you kind of build out a well-rounded skill set, I think will definitely pay dividends down the road.
Well, the other thing too, bringing up a point that Rick made too, and same with you, Coop, is the networking aspect. When I met Ben, it was my first Hall of Fame event, inductee, and there was some outside tent media room thing. It was bad. And he was in there with an editor, and I was playing Deltron on my laptop. Real quiet, kind of low key, because there's only a few of us in there. And Ben turns and looks at me, and he goes, "The hell do you know about Deltron?" And I turned and looked at him and said, "Who's this nerdy little kid? Like, talking to me about hip hop? Do you know anything about hip hop?" And as it turns out, Ben knows Deltron, and you know, he name dropped a bunch because that's what Ben does, and we talked a lot about music. But the thing is, like, it's networking, and we followed each other on Instagram, and
It's all about coffee.
it's all about coffee. Oh my god.
Yeah. You never know who you're going to
But
meet and when.
That was my next point. Exactly right. You never know. I just thought he was some nerdy looking dude. I was like, what does this guy know about hip hop? And as it turns out, he knows a lot more than I thought he did, and he turns out to be a director of photography for the NFL. So, you know,
I
4 years later.
I met Ben at the Summer X Games in 2006. That was my first meeting with Ben. And we were, you know, he was still, you know, I don't know exactly. He was with Wire, I think, or he was shooting for Getty or Wire at the time. And, you know, that's where I made my first contact. But I was just, you know, at the time I was an event staff photographer for ESPN doing X Games. So, I mean, you don't know who you're going to meet when.
Yeah.
That's a great
Exactly.
point. That is a great point. Well, last one. If you each want to go around real quick, where can people find you? Like, if they want to look at your work, where's the best place? You're probably all going to say Instagram. Maybe you're going to say your website. I don't know. But if you want to just pop around real quick and just let me know where people can find you.
Ryan.
Instagram would probably be the best. I update my website like once a year, maybe. So Instagram at @artangphoto.
You can find me at your local coffee shop. Instagram, Doster at Instagram. Aaron Doster, my website. I update that pretty frequently because I'm into myself like that. Yeah, that's Instagram. It's the way to go. It's a walking portfolio, and people need to treat it a little better. You can also find me on Twitter for obnoxious opinions and pictures of my cats.
Nice. Todd.
I'm Todd R Photo. I'm old, so I have it from days gone by. So it's todrphoto.com, and then Instagram is Todd R Photo, and Twitter for complaining about airlines is Todd R Photo.
A physical portfolio he can send you.
I have 11 by 14 black and white prints, and
Nice.
I have slides too. I have duped slides from 1986.
Can you send me a headshot?
No, I do have a headshot. Yeah. Can you send me a T-shirt?
Oh, I gotta go. Sorry.
All of my stuff is just Cooper Neal. Real simple.
It's nice to have a name where you can do that. I didn't realize how many Jenna Millers there were until I got married, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Mine's tapiaphoto.com and @tapiaphoto for Instagram. And if you're like me, you can just Google my name, I guess, and find things you never knew about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you being on here. I really do. Ben sent me like a private message and he was like, sorry, you have to run. So he popped off, but I am really excited to edit this one and get it up. There's a lot of great information in here, and I really appreciate you guys being on. So it was nice to meet some of you, like
Absolutely. Thanks for
virtually.
having us.
Yeah.
Please keep all the trash talk of Logan and Duval County on there. All of it.
Has to.
I thought you were gonna ask me to take it off. I was like, dang, I got a lot of editing to do.
Oh,
I
no,
don't
that's
think you should edit it at all. I think you should play it from start to beginning and be like, this is it. This is how we are.
Just put everything else out. Just the Logan Bulls. Just like.
I will say it's pretty awesome. You can tell you guys have a great working relationship, and that's kind of nice to see. You don't see that everywhere. I'm lucky to work with quite a few people here in like where I'm at, where UNC and Duke are, and they're fun to be around. But I've shot in other cities where that hasn't always been the case. So.
Well, we work well together because we're never together.
Exactly. He sends us to all different games, so we never get to see each other. So it's good.
Although I'll see Alika on Monday. So.
Yeah,
Nice.
Ryan and I got the same game on Sunday in 2 weeks. Week and a half now.
Boys trip to Vegas.
Boys trip. What?
That's crazy. I have a close friend, her family, they live in Salt Lake, and they bought season tickets to the Raiders like years ago. Nothing. They can't do anything with them. So, sucks. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much.
The only one's Kansas City and Indianapolis. Oh my God.
And we're stopping there. Indianapolis will be the last word.
I think it should be Jags suck, but that's fine.
Arthur, you ready?
I got the Jags on Monday. Yeah. Duval.
Duval.
That's the sound of a flushing toilet.
Duval.
Poor Logan. He's like going to turn this off in 2 seconds.
He'll keep watching to make sure he's talked about more.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. We'll see you around.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Mhm.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of We Shoot Sports, a podcast all about sports photography. That was fantastic. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did and learned as much as I did. As always, if there's anyone that you would like to have on the show, feel free to reach out to me at We Shoot Sports on Instagram. We'll see you guys on the next episode.